Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. I'm coming at you from the makeshift workshop inside my polytunnel because it's quite windy outside and it's just a little less noisy in here and a lot warmer as well. This video sees me push forward quite a bit on the pergola, especially the woodwork, and I'm really excited to share what I got done. I made some pretty good strides and it's been really fun doing the work as well. I really love timber framing and using chisels and doing woodwork, and I do a lot of that in this video. And before I get into the video, I just wanted to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to try something a bit different for this project. I'm just going to release videos as I finish the work, as I get to a certain length, as I do enough interesting stuff. Rather than releasing videos just on Fridays, I'm going to just release them as the work gets done. So that could mean 3 videos every 2 weeks. It could mean more than that. It could mean less, depending on how much work I'm able to do on the pergola each week. So that's something a little different. It takes the pressure off a little bit about releasing a video every Friday, and I'll just get them out when I get them done, which will be hopefully fun for you guys to follow along as well. And in this video, I also have an update on my window and on my car. So stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll give you all the information on what's happening with those 2 things. But that's enough chatting. Let's just get into the work. I think it's a really good video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again at the end. It's another gloomy day, but it's actually pretty warm and it's dry, even though the clouds are very low and it's pretty spooky and foggy. So I could work on the front porch, but I'm feeling inspired today to do a bit of woodwork. So I'm heading back inside my makeshift workshop, and I think I'm going to start by squaring off this end and then making some measurements to cut a mortise or a tenon, whichever the whole one is. I should probably look that up. So the first thing I want to do is check this long beam just for bends or twists, and it's quite difficult to tell because it is pretty long, but it looks fine. And because this structure or this support thing is only 3 pieces of wood, it's only this beam and then 2 posts, it's not as complicated as having a building where you have other pieces of wood coming off in different directions and stuff. So it's just going to be 2 pieces coming from the bottom, and that's it. So that makes things a little easier. The next thing I want to do is check for 2 square sides. So you can see that this one isn't really square. It's got some craziness going on. Oh, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. This side, that actually looks really good, but is it going to be good the whole way along? It's not so square there. And then really the only important things are the ends. And as I said, with this type of structure, just the 3 pieces of wood, it's probably not as important. I can probably make adjustments with the tops of the posts if I have to. But what I'm going to do is spin this over, try to find the sides that are the most square, and then that's where I'll be making my measurements from. So it's not looking amazing, but I'm going to have to find a way to make it work because I think this is the best post for the job. But let's worry about that later. I'm going to cut off the end, and that just gives me something simple to start with, and then I'll figure out the rest of it on the fly, as usual. I think I'd like to have an overhang on this thing, so I don't want to cut off too much, but I would like to get rid of this knot. And then I also want to look for other knots and anything else that might be kind of funky or ugly or damaged. And this piece of wood looks okay. This top part here looks a bit weird, but I'm sure it's nothing I can't plane off or sand off. I think it'll be fine. And so normally when you do this part, you're measuring from the 2 square sides, but because this is just an end, it's going to be an overhang, not a big deal. But it looks like things have matched up really well, and it's time to cut. And for that, I've got a brand new Japanese saw, brand new blade. It's looking good, and I'm going to use that for this build. I haven't used hand tools in a little while, and I just feel like doing a bit of practicing, getting back into it, and having a new saw is always a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, let's cut. I love these saws. This side is for crosscuts. This side is for cutting with the grain, and when you have a sharp Japanese saw like this, they're truly wonderful things. I've finished squaring off all the tops. This is the large beam. I'm going to work on this later because the tenons, which are the parts that stick out, I finally looked it up. They're a little easier to do, so I figure I'll do those first, and then I'll do the mortises afterwards. But before we get started, just look at this glorious day. The sun has definitely come out. There's been an outfit change, and it's just a really lovely day. I should probably pull all of this out and work in the sunshine, but I actually do like this little workshop thing I've got going on here, even if it is a tight fit. So I'm going to keep at it, cut this tenon, and then, yeah, just keep pushing on with the woodwork. So when you're doing timber framing, you want to be really careful about marking everything up, deciding what part of the wood is going where. So this is going to be the inside of the right post, and that's going to be the back, which means that that's going to be the outside that you can see from the road, and then this piece here, which I have deemed to be the most pretty part, that's going to be the front that you're going to see from the driveway area. And with marking these up, I've gone with what's called the square rule method of timber frame marking. And I'm not going to show too much marking or talk about it too much because it's the kind of thing that I need to concentrate to get done. And filming and concentrating do not go well together for me, so it's just going to be something I lay out off camera. But if you're more interested in learning about timber framing and the different methods for marking, the square rule one is what I'm using, and then there's also scribing, where that involves more laying the pieces of wood onto each other and marking out that way, which I might use to do the diagonal bracing. I haven't decided yet. And then the last way is, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically where you make sure that all of the wood is perfectly square, it's all the same width, it's all very uniform, and then you don't actually have to really worry too much about marking in different ways. You can just do it purely from measurement. So it's all pretty hard to explain. It's all not very exciting unless you're really interested in timber framing. But just for anyone out there that might be, there's different methods, and this way that I'm doing it is how I learned. And I learned at a timber framing course in a place called Rancho Mastatal in Costa Rica, which is one of the best places I've ever been. It's wonderful, and it's definitely one of the best courses I've done as well. So if you're close to Costa Rica and are interested in timber framing, I would highly recommend going down there. They also do permaculture courses and all sorts of cool stuff as well. And yeah, thanks Nick and Ali for an amazing course, and I love taking the teachings and putting them to practical use. But let's get into cutting this tenon because I'm excited to just push forward with the woodwork. So for these cuts, it's very important to have them really accurate because this beam is going to be sitting on top of the post, and you want the part that it sits in to be flat and square so that there's no gaps when the whole thing goes together. So I'm going to start everything out with the tiny saw to try to get a bit more accurate cuts around the line, and then I'll switch over to the bigger one after that. And I'm going to start with the part that the beam is going to sit on. And yeah, it's just about going slow, trying to be precise, choosing one side of the line to cut to and keeping that consistent. And yeah, just working away nice and slowly, nice and methodically, and it's the kind of stuff that I really do love to do. You can clean things up afterwards with the chisels, but it's quite difficult to get the same kind of accuracy with the chisels as you can with the saw. So trying to get this perfect on the first cuts is really what you want to be trying to do. Okay, job done. And hopefully these should be mostly square. Could be better. Could be worse. It's not perfect. That's looking a little dubious down there, but I'll make it work. So that's a tenon. I'm gonna cut one more off camera, and you'll see me again when we're ready to do some mortises, possibly tomorrow. It's another beautiful sunny day, and it actually calls for sun for at least the next 2 weeks, which is great for working outside, but it's very worrisome because we haven't had much rain at all, and if it doesn't chuck it down in February, March, and April, I don't know what that means for the summer. It's a little concerning, to say the least. But in happier news, I have both tenons cut, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. And I'd like to move on to working on the mortises in this beam, but before I can do that, I actually have to know how long the beam is going to be. And I could measure, but I work better by visualizing things. So that means I'm going to have to bash out those rocks there and decide where I'm gonna have the other little tower to support the second post. So I've got a bit of bashy work to do this morning, and then I'll lay everything out once and for all, and that'll give me the length of the beam, and then I can cut the mortises and make the structure. But before I get to this job, I think I need to address this thing. This aloe vera has been in various states of aliveness and deadness over many years, and now it's just absolutely rammed with a whole bunch of little babies, and the main plant probably needs a whole bunch more space. There's even a cork oak growing in here, so I'm gonna spend some time to liberate some of these guys, repot everything, and I feel like that's a nice start to my morning before I start whacking away at a pile of rocks. This thing is a beast. I don't exactly know how I'm going to get the babies out. I'll deal with you in a minute. But I've got some pots ready. It's a mix of cow poo pellets, some store-bought compost, and I've also taken a bit of soil from the side of the house where I'm going to actually move the gas bottle box to, so I'll want to clear that soil away mostly. And I think my strategy for this guy is just tip it on its side and see what I'm dealing with. So I should probably look up how to propagate aloe vera online, but my internet is currently broken, so I'm just gonna go for it. So eye protection I think is necessary because these things are very spiky, and I think I'm just gonna knock it over and go at it with this knife. This thing is very robust. As I said, it's died and come back to life many times, and I think it'll be fine. I'm really curious to see what this looks like in here though, if I can get it out. Got a lot of roots. This thing is very dense, so this should be pretty interesting. So I'm wondering if this knife might be overkill for the moment. I'm gonna just try to hack away at it with this thing for a bit. You can see there's a little baby right here, and maybe I can just kind of tease it out. At least I can try to see more what's going on. And you can probably hear, I don't know if it's a chainsaw or a strimmer on the land next to me. It's a beautiful sunny day, so there's a lot of people out doing land work. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of people around doing spraying just to keep the grass down. So while we prefer to trim the grass and let it fall, my Portuguese neighbors really love just getting at it with the poisons, and unfortunately that's a common thing around here. It does seem like maybe a knife will be required, so let's do a bit of surgery, and if I totally screw this one up, there's a lot more where this one came from. It seems like there's gotta be, I don't know, 20 little babies in here, so hopefully I can salvage a few without aloe vera death. Kind of reminds me of propagating bananas, or I don't know if the word's propagating, just sort of separating the baby pups out, where you have to kind of cut as low as possible and look for the roots. And, you know, I wouldn't say this one's looking great. Seems like a lot of these roots belong to something else, and I've just basically kind of massacred it. Maybe not. That looks okay. Let's stick it in the pot and see how it does. So this is looking pretty good on the surface. It's looking a lot less good under the soil with just those few straggly roots, but I'm just gonna keep hacking away at this guy while I listen to the chainsaw in the background and fill these pots up with some more baby aloe vera. Okay, job done. there was a bit more of a massacre than I would have liked. These guys don't really have any remaining roots, but maybe I'll see what I can make out of aloe vera. I've never actually really harvested or done anything with it, except for rubbing it on sunburns as a child. So I've got 3 here. I've got the one with the little cork oak in it. I'm going to deliver this down to Sinead's, because if the cork oak survives, she actually has space on her land to plant it. I'll put the other 2 in the greenhouse, and then I've got the mama plant just tucked away over here. She's got loads more space, and hopefully she'll continue to make babies and I can continue to harvest the plants, because I really think aloe vera plants are very cool and I know they're useful for stuff. I just need to figure out what for. So my next task is to bash away these rocks, put some cement down here, and continue the base along. But I'll do that off camera because I imagine it's going to be pretty strenuous, pretty tough work, and I really just want to get it done. And you'll see me again when hopefully I have a cement base laid and I'm ready to mark out the mortises. So I've been really going for it. I've done a lot of work on this little spot, and I've got some cementing still to do. But before I do that, let's say hello to this little fellow. How's it going? What do you think of the work? Have you had a nice nap? He's been snoozing all day. Mikey is still inside. And yeah, he's just out here enjoying the sunshine. It's really surprising how hot it is in the sun. I don't know why I'm wearing so many clothes. I should probably be in shorts and a t-shirt. But I've just been powering through. And after I lay this little bit of cement down, I am definitely taking a nap. But before I get to the cement, which is thankfully already mixed and it's going in that hole there, I wanted to just show you what I've done. I've laid down some of these long stones just to sort of visualize a stair. It's going to come across this way to these other green poles. So the trajectory of the wall is kind of in line with those 2 stones there. I don't know where I'm going to start the staircase. I don't know how high I'm going to go, how early on. I really don't know what I'm doing with the stairs, but I'll think about that later on, and that's just helping me visualize things. I've also moved one of the iris plants over to here, and I might actually end up digging a bit more of this out so I can extend the wall a bit to contain the gravel rather than just using the tree to contain it. And that's about it, really. I've moved a whole bunch of stones that were here away over there, and I've also taken a few stones out from here because I've had somebody mention in the comments, I forget who now, but I know who you are when I read the comments, and thanks very much for the idea. They suggested that when you're entering the front of the house, you want to kind of be able to walk in and sort of be funneled into the doorway. So I definitely want to remove this stone, take these out, and have a staircase sort of sweeping up a bit more from the sides, and possibly the same on this side as well. Yeah, so that's gonna need some thought, and it's gonna determine where I end up putting this little tower. So first thing I'm gonna do is just get the cement down, continue with the base, and then have a nap and come back to this after I've thought about things a little bit more. What do you think about that plan of attack, sir? No comment? No thoughts and opinions? Larry doesn't care. Larry just wants to chill out on his little bed of straw and watch me while I work. That's fine. Sounds like a great way to spend one's time. Oh, and hello. Uh-oh. Hi, Mikey. Larry loves Mikey. Mikey is indifferent to Larry. That's just how life goes sometimes, Larry. So these guys are out and about. It's good to see them having adventures, and I'm gonna get this cement down, and I'm gonna then have a snooze just like the cats were. This is definitely a very fast and sloppy way to do things. This, I think, is just some old lime. I guess there's some stone in there. And I just figured I would stick this down in this hole. It seems like it might fit. I haven't even tried it for size, but let's give it a go. A little bit more of this. Okay. And then, I don't know, let's just stick this down and see what it looks like. I don't think that's gonna work. But maybe this will. So I definitely should have mixed more cement, but oh well, I can do this later on. Right now, I'm really quite tired, and I think this is a good start. And I'll just build from here once I wake up and feel more like a human again. It's a brand new day, and as you can see, this looks pretty much exactly the same as it did when I left you yesterday, and that's because I can't really do that second little tower thing until I figure out what I want to do with the staircase. And I don't really know yet what I want to do with the staircase, and to figure that out, I'm gonna have to do some digging. And I don't want to dig because I kind of feel like I've twinged my back just a little bit, and I feel like I should give it a bit of a rest for today. And also, it's cold and windy out there, and I'd rather be in here working. And lucky for me, I've come up with a way to be able to work on this mortise without actually having measured the second tower out. So very quickly, here's what I've done to just avoid making decisions. I do love to delay a decision. I've squared off the other end of this post. I've measured to the center, and I have a rough estimate of the width between the two towers. I haven't fully decided yet. It's probably going to come down to a difference of 10 centimeters here or there. But because I've measured from the middle, made a pretty good estimate, and because I've got plenty of overhang, it's allowed me to just choose a spot for this mortise based on where I think the second one will be. Maybe it'll be here, maybe it'll be here. But either way, it's gonna have plenty of space, and it means that I can just get to work on this one because I promised you guys a mortise in this video, and I'm gonna give you a mortise. So everything is ready. I've got the mega drill out. I've got a rusty looking bit. I've got it marked to the depth that I need, and I'm just gonna get going. But before I get going on drilling the mortise out, I said earlier that I was using the square rule method of laying out these timbers. In reality, there is nothing square about these things. I'm just going for it on a hope and a prayer. And yeah, so I'm doing no method at all, and I'm just hoping it works out. But one thing that is important is that the fronts of the posts line up and that they're all the same thickness. And this might be hard to visualize, but to do that, to achieve basically the fronts of the posts being flush, this is the front of the beam, that's 4 centimeters there, this is the front of the post, and that's 4 centimeters there. So that should slot in and be flush with each other. And then on the back side, I can plane it off or do something to make sure it all lines up afterwards. So let's get the mega drill out and drill a mortise. So in the past, I've been doing this with my regular drill, and this is the first time I'll be trying it with mega drill. So this thing is way more powerful, and it should go through the wood a lot better. But actually, before I hit it with the drill, I forgot that I want to sort of trim off the edges with the chisel so that it doesn't tear it apart too much. So let's put this on hold and get the chisels out first. So I've got a nice sharp chisel. I've got my homemade olive wood mallet that has probably seen better days, but it's served me well over the years. And basically what I want to do is just go around the outside, so the lines, and just kind of tap into the wood so that when this drill goes through, it doesn't want to tear everything apart, because that is a very serious drill bit, and it's just going to kind of want to rip everything as it goes in. So doing this just kind of breaks the connection, and hopefully it means things will stay a little cleaner as the drill bit goes in. Would help if I actually got it on the line. Doesn't have to be super accurate because I'm going to clean everything up at the end with the chisels anyway. And I could also, if I want, just take out a little bit as well so that, yeah, the drill won't rip stuff apart. I don't know if this is overkill. I don't exactly know what I'm doing most of the time. I kind of learned a bunch on that course, but I've obviously forgotten. It was many years ago. But I find that doing this just helps with the drilling. And it's also very satisfying. I haven't used a chisel in a while, and I do love a bit of chiseling. All right, that'll do. Let's drill. That didn't go as planned. Let's try this again. I have a feeling that maybe this drill bit is a bit too dull and a bit too gigantic. I have a smaller one that I think I'm going to use, but let's just give this a go one more time and see what happens. Oops, other direction. Doop. It does not like it. Let's change this out and go with a smaller one. All right, new bit. Let's see what it does. Come on, Mega Drill, you're letting me down. It's getting there, kind of. I was expecting more power from this guy, though. Anyway, I'll get it done somehow. The idea is that I drill first and I clean everything up with the chisels, so let's just get to work. I mean, that could have gone a lot more smoothly, but it's a good start. And now it's time to clean everything up with the chisels. So as you can see, mortises just take a really long time, and they're a lot less fun for me than the tenons, and you really just have to keep bashing away. If I was able to get the larger drill bit to work as I expected, I would have had less work to do with the chisels, but it's still kind of enjoyable. I really do love working with chisels, and even though it takes some time, it'll be worth it in the end. So I'm just gonna carry on carving this thing out, and I'll check in again when I'm hopefully ready to put these two pieces together to see if it fits. Okay, the mortise is done. That took me, I want to say, around an hour and a half. The depth is good, and I'm going to try to fit it together, and if this fits on the first try, it will be truly miraculous. That never happens, but fingers crossed. There's always a first time for everything. Okay, fingers and toes are crossed. Let's see how this goes. This might be a two-person job, or maybe I can stand it up. Nope, needs more work. Which isn't surprising. So it needs a bit more chiseling. I'll just do it here on my driveway and then just keep trying. Okay, adjustments have been made. I've been chiseling for a little while, and I'm hopeful that the second try is gonna be the lucky one. So let's give it a go. Perfect. It's got a nice snug fit, and it looks really good on the front. I could plane off a little bit just to make it a bit more flush, but I'm really pleased with that. Could use a little bit of refinement. Maybe it can go down a little bit more. And I probably want to plane this off to be a bit more flush on this side as well, but it's definitely a really good start. So I am very pleased with this. I'm going to take this out so it doesn't fall down. Put everything away. Come on. Come on. These big bits of wood are quite unruly. Possibly more of a two-person operation. There we go. So that went really well. Kind of better than expected, actually. I'm very pleased with the fit, and I didn't actually think I could get it in on my own, so that's another win as well. So that's a wrap on the work for this video, but I did promise you an update on my window and on my car. So I'm gonna get out of the wind and hide in the polytunnel where it's nice and quiet and where the sun isn't in my eyes, and give you updates. So first things first, the car. It's finished, it's ready. It cost 130 euros to fix, and it wasn't the starter motor thing. The electrician checked that, it was all good. It ended up being a problem with the key barrel. I have no idea what this is. Maybe some of you out there do, which I think is a part of the starter, or maybe it's its own thing. Who knows? Anyway, he said the tip of it was broken off, and sometimes it was making connection and sometimes it wasn't. So sometimes it would start and sometimes it wouldn't. And so he had the parts, he fixed it, it's ready to go. I just need to get a lift into town, and then I'll be with my car once more. But it's actually been nice having the car out of the way so I can work in the driveway with all the stones and the wood. So not a big loss, and I could get around with Sinead's car as well. So it'll be nice to be mobile again, but it hasn't affected me too much, which is one of the joys of having one of your best friends living right down the hill and being able to drive each other's cars around. And then there's the window. So window guy has been out of touch since November, and then he reappeared and said that he could do the installation hopefully on January 10th. And then I reached out to confirm this, and he said it depends on the glass. So then I was very confused. January 10th has been and gone, and I reached out again to him and I asked him if he could update me and send me a photo of the window, just so I could see proof of life of this thing, that it actually exists, that he's actually working on it, that he's real, that the window is real, that things are happening. And he sent me a photo of the window. It's basically done. It's in need of the stain to go on it, and it needs the sort of handles and things and the lock, and it needs glass. So now it seems like we're at the mercy of the glass people. So I don't know what that means for my window. I guess I'll chase him again and see if he can try to chase the glass people and give me some sort of a deadline for that. So it is encouraging to see the window, to see that it exists, to see that it's almost done, but it's discouraging because now it's out of his hands and it's in the hands of a glass company. So who knows? My answer is who knows, but at least I have seen the window, not in the flesh, but I've seen a photo of it. It looks great. So that was exciting, and I guess I just have to wait, and I'll chase him again next week. So those are my updates. Good news on the car. It wasn't as expensive as maybe I was thinking. Oh, it was about around the same price as I was thinking, 130 euros. And the window, you know, we'll see what happens. So I feel like this video has been filled with a whole bunch of stuff. I've made some pretty good progress on the pergola, and I'm feeling energized, and even though my back is a little bit sore, I'm hoping that with a day of rest today, tomorrow I'll be back at it, digging some holes, and I'll continue work on the stone wall part. Plus I'll also do the second mortise off camera, and next time you see me, hopefully I will have pushed forward a little bit, and maybe soon enough I'll be ready to go vertical. So we'll see. I'll definitely be doing the braces, the diagonal braces in the next video, and more of the brick stuff as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.